Not all avoidant discards are abrupt and blindsiding. Sometimes they can slow fade into oblivion, pulling back ever so slowly but steadily. It starts with a slight change in their mood, a slight change in their tone. They're being just a little less mushy with you. And then they get more and more and more distant, pulling back to the point where they're treating you as if you're just a casual acquaintance. And every time you press for answers from this person, you get stonewalled. They tell you everything's fine and they give you absolutely nothing. And you're sitting there wondering what you did wrong, what you are doing wrong to possibly cause this person to pull back from you like this, but they're not telling you anything. The slow fade discard can actually sometimes be more painful than the abrupt discard because it prolongs the agony. You are putting more and more and more effort trying to love this person harder and harder and harder to try to reel them back in and get them back into the relationship in a full capacity. But this person is just stonewalling you every step of the way. They're giving you no communication. They are giving you no answers. And the harder you try, the more they distance themselves. But they tell you everything's fine. They gaslight you and tell you there's nothing wrong and it's all in your imagination, and you start to feel like you are going crazy. But this person is now difficult to pin down for plans. They're not being romantic with you. They're being distant, and even physical intimacy can come to a grinding halt. When this happens, it is because the avoidant is deactivating. They've taken their feelings for their partner and they've buried them, they've suppressed them. They're not allowing themselves to access their own feelings for you. This is how they protect themselves because something triggered their fears. Fears of abandonment, fears of engulfment, which is the fear of losing their independence in a relationship to somebody who's going to abandon and reject them, and the fear of rejection. But because avoidants do not communicate, you have no idea what is triggering this person's fears and what they are thinking. Because as children, their feelings were routinely dismissed. They weren't able to express themselves as a child. So they hold on to this as an adult. They've learned to associate communication with rejection and abandonment. So this person simply is not telling you what's going on, and they are deactivating. They are intentionally creating emotional distance between you and them. That emotional distance helps them feel safe because emotional intimacy, closeness, makes them feel unsafe. That leads to abandonment. They learn that from childhood. But the harder you try, the more this person will pull away because they are intentionally trying to push you away. And often, in these cases, the avoidant doesn't want to be the bad guy. So if they pull away, they are banking on you eventually being the person to end the relationship. And once you end the relationship because your needs aren't being met and this person is stonewalling and gaslighting you, the avoidant can say that they didn't cause it. It was you. See, my fears were correct. Abandonment was inevitable. See, this person abandoned me. And then they can confirm their own fears to themselves. They can justify their own behavior, refuse accountability, and refuse self-reflection. So the avoidant does not want to be accountable for it. And by you dumping them, you're essentially letting them off the hook. However, you should stand up for your own emotional wants and needs. You absolutely should hold boundaries, because if you're being treated in a way in which you do not deserve and you allow that treatment, you're sending yourself a profoundly negative message. You're sending yourself the message that it's okay to treat you this way. It's okay to just stonewall you, gaslight you, and distance from you. Now, holding boundaries could mean leaving the relationship. And yes, the avoidant can use that as justification for their own behavior. However, that's their issue. You are not responsible for their mental process, and you are not responsible for their unhealed attachment wounds or their character choices. That's on them. But you are responsible for looking out for your own mental and emotional well-being. And regardless of whether this person continues their cycle of dysfunction or not, that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to make sure that you are taking care of yourself in a way that you deserve.